Hey guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing a team coaching session um, for the team so that we get to learn how to use certain new tools. And today I'm going to focus in this video on the power bars. Okay, so before I get started, if anyone would like a 3-day pass to the room, actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to expand that to 5-day passes. Let's just do that right now. A 5-day pass to the room. This is how you ask for that 5-day pass. TRADEnPERFORM at gmail.com. Okay, so what I want to do, this is how I want to show you how to do this. Okay, so let's say we come in and let's use Friday morning to start. So first of all, let's define what a power bar is. A power bar are these bars where there's little triangles on top and on bottom. They're blue. They're blue on top, they're blue on bottom. And the bias setting is pretty easy. So we'll start at the most simplistic form, and then we'll get to areas that are more complicated in later videos. Okay, so basically the idea is if I'm below a power bar, right, I want my bias on pushes back up against that power bar to be short, and if I'm above a power bar, I want pushes to come back against it to be long. Very simple concept. So now let's take that concept and put it in practice. And where it was most useful, and particularly yesterday, right? So you'll see starting around 6:50, 7:30, the last time, so let's clear these, and this is on ES, right? The last time I was able to get underneath a power bar and get a setup would have been about 4 in the morning Central Standard Time, right? So it would have been right here is, let's see, here's where I get underneath a power bar, right? And then you go, well, okay, Simon, well, what was your short entry? So as the team knows, we look for very specific setups in that particular case. So what I would have looked for is a push back up, and I'm either looking for an algo to fire right in here, right? And the algo that I got was triangle up, which, by the way, guys, I've changed into orange instead of white just to see if it helps get better identification and distinguish it from the pointed controls on the bars. Triangle up. If you go parallel, that's triangle down, right? Parallel, that's triangle down. So this entry, so now I'm gonna plug the pieces in, right? I got below a power bar. I failed to get back above a power bar, so I have I need a way to filter the information the market's coming through. So this helps me filter on a bit higher scale than just individual bars, which can form quite quickly. And then as I come over to the right, I'm looking for the algos, which I'm not going to go through and highlight all of them, although I'll show them as they show up in this video. But team members, you know what we're looking for in terms of algo setup, right? So in this case, it's triangle up with a parallel triangle down. Your entry's on the triangle down. Again, that triangle down you usually know before the bar is formed. This is on an 8-range ES Renko. Your entry is 46.550, and the maximum favorable excursion on this trade would have been 40.58 1/4. That assumes you covered perfectly, right? So as you know, it's kind of scale and trail in the room for profitability. But if you look and you just took that one trade, and again, that was at 7:30, so almost no one would have taken it. It was during econ, but in slow mo and still form, you can see it set up there, right? Now, when you're trying to do your bias, right? So let's say hypothetically you took that trade, 40.65 to 40.58. That's let's see, 5 times 50, 250, about $300 a contract, just in this little move. It's a lot of money, right, per car for most people, right? But then how do I know that my bias has changed? So as soon as I close above this bar has a little triangle on top of it. It's a power bar. Here's where my bias has changed. So now I'm looking for algo setups to the long side until such times I get back below a power bar. Now, this is the most conservative way of using the algos. Why do I say that? Because a lot of times you'll see me taking setups on the edge prior to getting above or below an algo. But I know as I'm doing those setups, right, that if I can't get above or below that algo, that I've got nowhere to, that I'm taking a higher risk trade and that's okay. And again, I'm going to focus on this one on ES, but I'll show you at the end some NQ setups. So I know, right, here's my next power bar. Unless I get below this, up, right? And if you ask, well, what's the trade setup there, right? Well, in this particular case, no trade setup occurred, right? I had a down triangle, and the next triangle was above it. So that's also still valid if you'll use that as a 1-bar stop. Nothing else set up there for us. So you could have taken this one triangle on a 1-bar stop. I prefer them to be parallel, right? So as we're going up, again, remember I'm taking the most conservative approach. So I know where I'm looking for shorts all the way through here, right? Can't get underneath here. And so then the question is, if I can't get underneath the power bar, can I keep taking my long setups? The answer is yes, right? So again, here's my triangle down. So let me expand that a little bit so you can see it. What I really want is the triangle to be within, I really want the triangle to be, the body of the triangle to that when I get that triangle up to be within the body of this bar, right? So you'll see here, if you had taken this trade, your entry would have, you got a triangle up within the body of the bar. There's a 41.0150. The maximum pain you would have taken on that would have been 40.97. So that's 0150, 1.5 plus 3, 3.5 points. On an 8-range bar, a 5-point stop would have kept you in this trade. Obviously, your extension on that would have been quite nice from 41.0150 all the way up to 41.18. And again, the reason I'm highlighting the triangles is because I think they're being underutilized in the room. And so I'm doing both the power bars with the triangles, right? So I know I don't have a short bias all the way through here. I'm only looking long. I get 2 new areas to look for a potential switch in bias, excuse me, here and here. So notice all the way through this, because I'm not looking for a short, look how many points I've avoided getting face ripped on if I'm trying to take shorts. Look at that, 40.76 all the way up to 41.25. Raise your hand if you don't feel like taking 50 points worth of stops along the way, or the stress that's involved with it. You just sit back. It was so relaxing yesterday morning. If you were in the room, we're like, there's no shorts. Where I would have or should have turned it back on a little bit more is should have been within the triangles lining up with each other. So I'm going to skip the other setups. Members in the room know what I'm talking about. But if you look at the parallel triangles again, and this bar is parallel triangle right here, right? So if you had taken this, remember your bias is to the long side, right? So when someone asks, well, what about this here? Well, I'm not looking at this until I get above, until I get below here anyways, using my most conservative approach, right? So had I taken this trade, my entry would have been right here. So first let's talk about what the maximum favorable excursion was before it came back behind you. So the best you could have done on that trade would have been a 41.15 to 41.18. Again, you're right at 9 o'clock. We had econ right at 9 o'clock, so I don't generally trade at 9 o'clock, so take it with a dime, but it's here on the chart, so I'm using an example. Prior to it continuing higher, if you entered at 41.15, you pushed all the way back to 41.10.75, approximately 6 points of heat to the downside, and then your maximum favorable excursion on this trade, meaning the most it would have gone up in your favor, would have been 41.26. So let's do that again. You know you're looking long still. You haven't gotten below the power bar. You've got a down triangle over here, right? You've got an up triangle right over here. I'm going to bring these down triangles even more. And off the trade runs in your direction. Now, let's say you thought, oh, well, now most certainly it's short. Okay, well, first of all, you could have said right over here at 950, hey, we've gotten below on that power bar. No one would disagree with you, right? So there's a couple things you can do at this point. Let's erase everything. So we know we've gotten below. So the first thing you should be thinking to yourself is, hey, wait a minute. I just saved almost 100 ES points to the upside, and I'm not getting face ripped on shorts. Were there some shorts you could have taken? Sure. Okay. But you didn't have the stress of getting run over in that process. The next piece, okay? So if you've seen this underneath, you go, okay, well, I'm looking for a potential short, right? I want a potential short, and I want it to set up before it gets over here. So what were your potential shorts? Well, you get an up triangle. You have a potential to match up that trade. You get an up triangle over here. You have a potential to match up that trade. And then you close above. Clearly, you close above. So you're no longer looking for shorts. As a matter of fact, you're potentially flipping back around and looking the other way for long. So then what were the trades in that case? What trades were you looking for? So again, I'm going to highlight the triangle trades, what I'm looking for. So we're coming down, and I know this triangle, right, was a push down, right? And then I get a triangle up. The triangle up is within the body of this triangle down. That qualifies as parallel. I'm going to highlight it. That means I would have been long on this bar right here, 41.2750. The maximum adverse excursion on this trade would have been 41.22. So again, 41.2750. You would have needed about a 6-point stop to stay in this trade on an 8-range bar. And then two questions I have. How far did it go in your direction initially? So it went from 41.2750 to 41.31 1/4. So we see almost consistently, in order to reduce risk, you should be reducing risk at about 3 points, right? And then you can either use that risk that you added off to add back in as it pushes towards your 6-point stop, or just leave that 3 points to move your average cost back from 41.27. You contribute the 3 points to the second half of the trade, which brings you back to 41.2450 against a 41.22 stop on the second half of the trade to push to the upside. Now continue going. Again, no short consideration. Right, notice that we've gone through the entire day of trend day up here, right? And you're only looking for longs. At this point, no short is set up. So it's impossible for you to get run over in this situation. And then as you keep rolling over to the right, you end up with, as we're going through again, we never get underneath the power bar. So then you can look and go, well, what would my long position been in here if I was going to look at 41.38? So again, staying with the triangles, triangle down. Now, this one does occur within the body of the bar, here, and it doesn't set up on another algo, right? So your entry would have been here, and this is late in the day. I don't trade the last hour 90% of the time. But your entry is right here. Your entry is right here. So the first thing I want to know is on this trade is, did my 6-point stop get hit? So I would have entered 41.4550. So that would have brought me to 41.40.50. And then I would have added another point there. So it would have been 39.50, excuse me. And I just got stopped out right there. So that's a minus 6 points. Again, there's a reason why I don't trade at the end of the day, but that would have been a minus 6 points. And then again, you'll see here, you got another down triangle. Now, guys, this setup worked a little bit differently, so I'm going to cover it. This is down triangle, point of control above the down triangle. Your long is right here. Again, it's a bit smaller stop there. It's 41.4350 against 41.39, and obviously in that case, you cut the rip into the end of the day. Okay, so that's one way on trend day up, right? So now let's go look at Monday, which wasn't trend day up, right? Or trend day down. It was more of a balanced day. And look at that same scenario using ES, right? So I'm going to go back here to Monday. And I'm going to start where I usually start trading, which is around 4 in the morning. The room opens up at 8 o'clock, but I'm going to go through my biases through the course of the day. So when I would walk in, the first thing I would notice is I would get in probably right around here, right? It's about when I'd scroll in. So the first thing I'm going to notice is I've gotten above my power bar, right? So what's my bias? Outside of uber aggressive trades, I'm looking long, right? So the first thing that I'll see on the 8 range, I probably needed to be on the 6 range, but we'll stay on an 8 range for now. I get no setup over here, but also I'm not short and getting my face ripped off either. Pushes up. Here we are into 630. Again, have not made it underneath any of my power bars, so I am looking long. Here's my triangle down. Again, this is a pretty straightforward trade for me, guys. I get a purple bar, star, I'm long, right? Stops at the bottom of the star. I clearly make the extension. I'm not looking short. Still looking for my long, right? So in this case, I get purple bar down, right? Purple bar, triangle down, point of control above. That's a long. Even if I didn't get the long, I'd be over here on the triangle up, and you can see that it made an extension. I'm going to do this part a little bit faster so everyone doesn't get bored to tears. Now, here is where my bias can change. Why? I've closed underneath the power bar. Does that make sense? I've closed underneath the power bar. I can now change my bias. One of the things the members in the room has been saying, a few of them have been saying, I'm having a hard time with bias, Simon. This is how I determine bias, right? Notice I'm not even reading the waves over here. I'm trying to do anything more complex, right? So now I'm looking. Now someone could ask, and fairly so, well, Simon, what about this? This one closed above the power bar and still set up short. I'd agree. And the way I just determine this is if I can't get an orthodox close above, okay, so an orthodox close above or below, for example, when I draw a line over here, see how this bar closed underneath and it has no physical contact with the bar over here to the left? I can still take my shorts, right? Is it perfect? No, but that's how I'm drawing the line, because you have to put a line of distinction in some way, some fact, some manner, right? So all of this is driven to help you improve as a trader, right? So you can make one or two choices. I'm unsure, I'm not taking the trade one way or the other, or I'm going to take my trade setup. So in this case, you had pink bar star, right? Again, that's 835, so almost no one in the room is trading it. It goes lower. We generally don't trade the first half hour. Again, your bias doesn't change. Clearly, you're pushing down here until you're going to get an orthodox close above here. So here, right, clearly, my bias has changed at this point. Okay, so again, I'm missing all my aggressive trades that try to take the contra to the long side, but this is being approached to traders that are a little bit more conservative, that don't want to constantly try to trade both sides. So what do you end up with right here? You end up with a down triangle. And while the next bar doesn't get the point of control, excuse me, take it back, you get down triangle, price closes above the point of control of the down triangle along this bar, one bar stop, right? Up we go. So remember, we're not looking short now at all. This is on Monday, right? So when I see this down triangle, I go, oh, potential long. Oh, and wait a minute. Now that I get this bar right here, bias has completely changed. So wait a minute. Originally, I'm going, oh, if I get an up triangle against this bar or another algo, I'm looking long. Now I'm like, oh, I'm looking short. And understand, this is okay, right? This is 8:54 in the morning. This is okay. Think about it. If you're day trading, you're trying to maintain consistency. You just didn't take any longs on a 43 to 05 stop. So I want to make a distinction here. Give me just 1 second. So someone could ask the question, well, was there a short up here? First of all, there wasn't. Secondly, it's like in the 8:50 to 9 a.m. trade period, but you didn't get ripped. Let's see and let's just keep going through so we can see how the bias. So remember, I'm not looking for shorts in any of this. So I have an up triangle over here. I don't get a short set up here. I do have a power bar. I know if I get above, I'm going higher. We need to look at the plane of this bar, the high and low. It really didn't close back in, no short setup, which is fine. Okay, now look right here. My bias at that point would be long, right? So let's just watch and see what happens. I'm hoping for a pullback. I'm ignoring that short. Now, if let's just go through and take them blindly, right? Triangle down, price above. I'd be long on that star. More than got my scale off and profitable. Obviously, I'm still only looking long, right? So I'm ignoring my shorts. There's my triangle down. I want to make sure that I have the plane, both the top and the bottom of the bar marked off. Okay, so now I have a triangle up, so triangle down. I'm going to take this trade, and I'm going to have a 6-point stop. So my entry on that bar is, I can tell you right now, 31.25 minus 6 points. Let's just call it 25 is my stop. Okay. Scales off now, right? I just got 31 to 35. And again, my bias is all long, right? So I can either try to push that trade or look for my next trade. So I'm still completely looking for my long. Now I've got purple bar, star. I can go long again, right? Again, my entry was 31. We're going to have a 5-point stop, so it's 25. Got my scale off. And now I'm going to get stopped out on my trailer, right? Or I just closed the whole trade out for, it went from 31 to 35.50, and 4 points is pretty good for us, for many traders. Down it goes. Now my bias has changed, right? Right here at 9:30, this has changed my bias. Why? I've gotten underneath my last power bar. So now I'm looking for short setups only. There's my up triangle, nothing. Now notice, I want you to notice two things. First of all, I didn't lose anything by not being short here. And as you know, we usually have a bias generally in the room. Hey, we're heading back to this point. We're heading back to this point. This is micro location assistance, right? So first of all, no algo set up here at all, right? No algo set up here at all, so it's not a problem. Now I'm biased long. Now wait a minute. Triangle down, price closed above. So not much of a dip, but I'm willing to go long if I'm just taking them blindly, right? You can't cherry pick what you are and aren't taking. My bias is long, 5-point stop, 6-point stop. Let's see if we get anywhere. Scaled and paid. And not only that, but I might have come back in right over here, right? Again, I don't know if I'm bumping into resistance or not, but you can see again, more than enough room. If your entry was originally over here, well, actually your entry was right here at 43, and it's already made an extension up to 57 points, 7 times 5, $350 contract. Bias is changed now over here. Bias is changed, right? And not only that, well, I don't want to make it more complicated. So let's pause for a second. Well, Simon, bias changed, and I actually got a pretty good setup here. Purple bar, star up. What do I do with that? You have to be trading off of a higher time frame, or assuming that we're going to continue higher from there. To every choice or every decision you make, there's always going to be a interference in rules, right? You just have to sort through those rules to decide where you're trading and where you're not trading. And if we fast forward all of this, like here, I'm now clearly biased to the short side. I'm looking for my setup, right? That's actually, I would be short. I can tell you, I'd already be short this bar right here, 6-point stop. And it looks like I get stopped on that, but I have no problem with it, right? I'll just take my next setup until here, right? So this is getting close to 10 o'clock already. I don't trade in this 9:50 to 10 o'clock, but the bias is now long again. It's still long. So remember, once it's long, right, even if you took the stop back in over here, the idea is not that you don't have any stops. That would be ridiculous, right? But now once your bias is changed, triangle down, price above, you get paid, right? Triangle down, price above, you get stopped. Triangle down, price above, you get scaled. right? And I tend to want pullbacks on these trades, right? I generally don't take, like, this is getting hung up on top, and I'd like to make some kind of attempt to roll back in. So if this is the first time you're watching this video, there's nuance to it, right? And then as you see us kind of scooting along here, right? Remember, bias hasn't changed. So triangle down, price above, long. No trade here. Triangle down, price closes above the point of control. You obviously get paid over here. And then it's New York lunch, and I don't trade New York lunch, so I care less. But even within that New York lunch, if you look, right, once you're underneath, right, here's your triangle up. You have a parallel triangle down, and down it goes. And again, triangle up, price below, triangle down, and off it goes. It's a really great piece of the process to add to understand, outside of already having location on the charts and what the targets are and what the bias is on the day. We're really good at reading that stuff. It's an addition to the room of what you are looking for. So anyways, that's the time I've spent coaching you guys this morning. My name is Simon. I'm a Trade and Perform coaching. If you'd like to join the room, uh, there's a lot of benefits to the room. First of all, my 30 years of trading in the markets and using that as guidance. Secondly, the algo is a massive edge to us, as you can see. And third of all, we really understand order flow and market structure, and it gives our traders a significant edge. So anyway, please come join us. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for all those who've given your lives so that we can have our freedom in this country. Really, really appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful day.